Good morning. This is Susan Hintz Epstein. I've been observing people in general and life in particular and the things that we're going through these days. And I think that we need to understand that going through these things, we're not alone. And I think we need to understand that as creatures of body and spirit, we will meet challenges that help us to grow and expand our consciousness. But how we meet those challenges is whether we will grow and expand our consciousness or just fade into sort of a victim phase. Sometimes I don't always know how to approach this. It's something I've been living for so long that it's become second nature. But I want to speak it in a way that helps people to open up and see the path in their own lives. So we know that Earth is changing. We know that Earth is changing. Climate change has been catalyzed by human greed and disconnection from an embodied knowing that we ourselves are creatures of the planet. I was listening to a movie this morning by Oren Lyons, I think Onondaga chief and elder and peacekeeper, and just so much more than that. But he was reminding me that the greater culture, I'm not saying great to mean superior, I'm saying larger culture, that created by colonization that overwhelmed the native peoples of this country and many others, is experienced a huge disconnection from nature. And I see this all over the place. You know, my day job as a school bus driver, I see kids who are tuning into their cell phones, computer games. When I was a kid, we gardened, we hiked, we rode our bikes. Kids are disconnected from their own bodies, and disconnected from their own bodies, they're disconnected from the sensory input that talks to you, that lets you know that you're part of nature, that is your God-given intuition, that is so much more. And I want to speak to that a little bit. You know, I read the runes. I was raised Christian. My mother was a Sunday school teacher for 45 years, if that tells you anything. And church was a weekly thing. But I wanted to understand the human spirit. So we know hard times happen, and challenges that feel overwhelming can lead to a greater expansion of consciousness for us if we are willing to take accountability and meet the need demanded of us. Now, in the rune row, the second 8 of the 24 runes of the Elder Futhark, we have all of this explained for us. We have the rune Hagalas, which speaks of sudden catastrophes, sudden events, sudden changes. And it can leave us, as I said, overwhelming, don't know what to do, how do I deal with it? Now, These, need, is the next rune in the series. This is when need comes up. And if you step into the opportunity, okay, maybe the opportunity has thorns, but if you step into the opportunity to discern what needs to happen so that you can get the repairs on their way, maybe you'll avoid the freezing process, which is understandable. Something happens, a need is there, you don't know what to do. That part of our mind has the fight, flight, or freeze mechanism, and sometimes getting out of that amygdala situation, I've been in it, can be a little bit challenging. But the thaw always comes. This is Yera. This is the rune of the year. You know, we go from a cold winter and we have a spring and we have a thaw and we have summer. And in summertime, we can take care of the harvest. In summertime, we have the capacity to run up and down the tree. Awaz is the column, the Irminsul, the world tree, the base from which we are connected to both spirit and earth. As our body is earth and our spirit is air, breath, life. And sometimes there's a moment where the mystery is there and you just don't always know what it is. You know, that's the Norns, that's Perthro, that's change. But then consciousness comes. Consciousness, elhas, this is the crown of the tree. You have applied your thoughts, you have applied your reason, you have applied your thinking process, and you have worked your way out of it. And the final rune, after all is said and done, this is the rune of the sun, sunshine. You've overcome, there's victory. And there's a lot of joy sometimes in that victory. But I wanted to share a little bit more with it too. You know, it's not just the runes. It's not just Odin and the runes. It's also another story of Jesus in his time in Gethsemane. And that's why I call these Gethsemane moments. Because if you remember, if you're Christian, if you remember Jesus on the night before he was taken, spent the night in Gethsemane praying so hard that he was sweating blood. He did not want to die. Life was good. Life was pleasant. He loved people. He loved teaching. He loved sharing the message of God that comes through all of us and to all of us. But he was praying, let thy cup be taken from me. And after a while, when he didn't receive an answer, and we can receive answers from God all the time. I don't believe in these naysayers that say there's no God, but we can't, I'm sidetracking again, we can't know God except in our own heart and mind. When Jesus realized he was going to have to go through with it, he surrendered. And surrender is not a comfortable word for everybody. So let me use another word. He accepted. He accepted the cup that he was to drink, bitter as it was. And in that moment of acceptance was a moment of transformation. Maurice Nicole, in his book, The Mark, talks about a process called metanoia. And it's not repentance. It's something else. It's when you turn your mind from one thing to another and you allow the transformation or the change within you to take place. It may burn like fire. It may burn like nails through the hands on a cross. It may burn like the betrayal of someone you loved so deeply, whether it's leaving a marriage or someone who dies or the passing on of something else. But there is a residue in you, and that is the change. And that is what will give you the impetus to see it through. So that's a Gethsemane moment. It's the same as the second 8 of the rune row. And other religions have their teachings of this manner. You know, I think it's so stupid and short-sighted for, okay, let me just pull the MAGA hat out, people to say this and only this is a form of Christianity. There are so many forms of Christianity. Christianity was not defined as a religion until the Council of Nicaea, and then it became a state religion under Constantine. So you know some of the stuff that Jesus taught had to get frozen and couldn't be passed on as Jesus intended, which is why there was parables so that people could understand when they were ready. But the religion is not the heart of the teaching. It's just a framework that holds the heart of the teaching until the person who sincerely desires to understand it can attain that understanding. Buddhism itself holds a way, the middle way. But I don't want to get too sidetracked today. I just wanted to speak to the flow of this particular situation. So something bad happens, a challenge arises, which creates a need, a shortfall, a challenge, and then a person might descend into the amygdala moment where the ice freezes, or they fight, or they just are resisting with everything in them. The surrender, the acceptance, the thy will be done moment. But that's when change happens, in that moment, when you bring your soul and your spirit into alignment with your life. And I have to say an additional thing too, that your spirit is most in alignment with your embodied life, when you are living truth. I know we say truth is relative, and everybody's inner morality, inner compass will be different. But somehow, most of us know that it is not good to hurt people, that it is not good to lust after thy neighbor's wife, or it's not good to steal or kill or have other gods outside of me, or whatever your language is. Most of us have an inner moral compass that can rise up to these moments and find the way through. But integrity is not social morality. Integrity is hard won, looking inward at your shadows, at the discomfort they create, and doing the same work, maybe on a small scale, to transform, to find that metanoia moment within you. And when we have enough of this clearing away of the debris of our shadow selves, we gain or we awaken our conscience. And conscience is the real treasure. Because conscience, when awakened, the Buddhists call things enlightenment, other people call it illumination. But when your conscience is awake, you can know how to respond to things in a way that is integral and in alignment with your spirit. I think I've said a lot. I've tried to say it simply as I understand it. But I hope that whoever gets this message today will think about what I've said in relation to something going on in your own life or in relation to something in the world, and find your moment of metanoia.